What's up guys? Now you guys have seen me review and use electric skateboards to death. I've got a couple of different boards. I use them all the time. I use them for getting around when I'm travelling. I use them for commuting around here. If I had to go into London, rather than take public transport, I will jump on a train to get to London and then get on an electric skateboard and zip across town. I love them. I think they're amazing bits of kit. They're a lot of fun. But for a while now, I've wanted to try a different type of electric skateboard, a belt-driven board. Well, someone sent me one. Can't wait to get on it. Let's talk about the Vestar board. They're pitching this thing as an alternative or a competitor to boosted boards. Boosted are the market leading, generally considered one of the best, along with inboard, the best electric skateboards out there. This thing is going up against it directly. Very similar looking, very similar specs, a lot cheaper. Is it as good though? Right, this is a very good board, but before I get into how good it is, I want to talk about two negatives that I found so far. The first of which is the braking and the controllability. It's not smooth, it's not a smooth operation on the controller. The way the motor comes in is not as smooth as it is on a boosted board. And in particular, the way that when you start to brake, you start to roll back on this throttle switch here, the braking is aggressive, so much so that actually you can sometimes end up locking up the two rear wheels that the motors are attached to. And that makes it very unstable. It starts to make the back end jump sometimes under braking. Depending on the surface you're on, it can be dangerous. So that's the first thing I didn't really like, and I suspect is only a software tweak to improve it. It shouldn't be very difficult to change the map in which the way the to adjust the way the throttle comes in. So Vestar, if you're listening, maybe take a look at that, because other than that, there are not many other things wrong with this board that I can see so far. There's one other, I'll tell you about that in a moment. The other problem that I've got with this board is actually nothing to do with the board itself, it's everything to do with the controller. The controller itself, it looks on many levels to look like a boosted board controller. It has the same kind of wheel designed throttle, but the quality is just not good enough. The quality of the controller is much lower than that of a boosted, and significantly, and I had this on another Chinese based board that I reviewed at some point last year. Instead, like it has on the boosted, instead of just rolling back on the throttle, which you do to brake, instead of continually rolling back, and once the board has stopped, it then goes into reverse. On this particular system, you have to press that little reverse button just there, and that sticks it into reverse. There's nothing to tell you it's in reverse, it just goes into reverse, and that means you can hit that by accident when you're holding it, and that means when you apply the throttle unsuspectingly, you can zip off backwards. Which has caught me out a few times, and I kind of know what I'm doing on these things. So you can imagine for a novice, that's a bit of a problem. Maybe we'll get used to it, but for me, you just shouldn't have to get used to it. The intuitive way to do it: roll back on the throttle till the thing stops, keep rolling back, and once it's stopped, come to a stop, it'll go into reverse and go backwards. Other than those things, This is an awesome board at an awesome price. The board's incredibly fast, it's lightweight, it's easy to carry with that handle. The battery performance is unbelievable so far. But other than that, I love it.
Skating here, I saw this skating here.
Right, been a naughty boy. Right, let's try and wrap this up for you then. I've been riding this now for a couple of weeks. I've been riding it in all terrains. I've ridden it in different temperatures, up and down different gradients, and I can tell you it's performed incredibly well. Better than I expected it was going to, if I'm honest. The specs on the website, vestarboard.com, I'll link all of this information in the description of the video, but the specs say it will do 15 to 18 miles on the battery that is inside this particular version. That's a long range. That's longer than the boosted board. The boosted board's extended range battery will do 14 miles. Now I have tried to run this thing out and I have managed to achieve 15 miles and I still had one flashing bar out of 4 left on the battery indicator. So I haven't actually managed to run it out. I ran out of time and I ran out of places to go before I could actually run the battery out on this thing. You can even get an extended range battery for an additional price that will take you to 27 miles of range. Nearly 30 miles on an electric skateboard. That is unheard of in this marketplace. Well, they only sent me the sort of lower spec one, which is a real shame, so I can't really comment on whether you can actually achieve 27 miles, but I can tell you that this particular board, the board that has the 15 to 18 mile range, looks like it will achieve it. Pretty cold temperatures here in the UK. Lithium batteries don't like the cold. It tends to lower the performance range of a battery. But even in these very low temperatures, around about 4 or 5 degrees as it is right now, we're still achieving 15 miles. That is impressive. It will do 25 miles an hour, as it says. The boosted board will also do, I think, 24 miles an hour, as according to their spec sheet. So very, very similar. Even perhaps this is better. This is a better spec delivering a greater range for a fraction of the cost. The fact that its belt drive has 2 dual motors, belt driven motors, just like the boosted board has. These things will deliver incredible performance because the fact that it's belt driven means, let's see if you can see that, you can of course gear up from the motor up to the wheel using a sort of pulley system, which means that actually the torque that you achieve at the wheel is greater than you achieve at the motor, and that's an advantage that these kind of boards have over the in-hub motor boards that I've been riding before that. They're a bit noisier, but the instant torque, the pull away, is absolutely impressive. As I said earlier in the video, I think the torque map within the software could definitely be improved just to give it a more rideable, more usable experience, more stable experience, particularly under braking. But other than that, I've got to say, at $699 standard price, there is a discount code that I will put in the description of this video. It will take $200 off that price. You can have this thing for $499. Now I've got to say that that is an unbelievable deal, and when I titled this video, is it a boosted killer? Do you know what? It could be. Boosted have come up against a serious match here. The real test will be over long term. Will it stay together? Will it fall apart? I mean, I've been riding it for a couple of weeks. I need to be riding it for a few months to see if anything falls off it, to see if anything breaks. The fact that the company's based in China means that for many people it might be more difficult to get replacement parts. And of course, Vestar are going to come up against the challenges that any newcomer comes up against when coming into an established market. Boosted have a fan base, they have an established customer base, they're a trusted brand, a trusted name. That's what these guys are going to have to overcome. But with specs like this and with a price like this, if you're looking to get into electric skateboarding, electric longboarding at this level, a high level, this is not a bad place to start.